Did you, when the crash happened, was that like a green light for you? Were you waiting? Were you always thinking about, I'm going to go into investment? Or is that something that the opportunity showed up, the sales dropped? Like, how did that came about? Why did you start it? Like, was that something you were still
I always was. See, what real
Into
estate sales was good
but
for
you
me.
never thought about this as a long-term play for you?
Yeah, I never thought about being a real estate agent as a long-term path.
Yes. Okay.
Right? As a long-term path, I never thought about it.
Yeah.
I got into real estate sales as a means to make the next step.
Yeah.
Right? I knew real estate sales could make good money. Right? I mean, there's not too many professions where nobody asks you how much education you have.
Yeah.
What if you're willing to put your nose down and go to work, right? I mean, one of the hardest jobs you're ever going to do is real estate agent. But it can make you a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not too many professions you can make $300,000-$500,000.
Sure.
Right? And with one part-time assistant, I was making $300,000 and taking almost every penny home. Right? Meaning I wasn't spending a lot of money because purely every day I was doing cold calls. But I mean, I hated it. I hated it with a passion because I couldn't control my destiny. That's really what I didn't like about being a real estate agent. Not that the business was a great business. I mean, I would not be here if I had not sold real estate, 100%. And what it did was it laid a foundation for investing, right? Because when I started doing flips in 2008, and I was looking in 2003, 4, 5, and each year I would try to save a little bit of money, but each year the market just kept going through the roof.
Yeah.
Right? 2004,
Just like right
5,
now.
6. It was just crazy.
Like right now?
Absolutely. No question about it.
How is
right?
that feeling right now versus that?
I
Is it
think
crazier
today,
now?
well, today it is crazy. Again, there's a lot of people doing crazy things.
Yeah.
But still, I don't think it's anywhere close to where it was. In terms of how many crazy loans people were doing, in terms of no-doc loans, like ninja loans, no income, no job, no verification loans at that time. And if you look at the number of expireds at the time, the reason I had a leg up compared to everybody else was 2006, I saw the number of expireds every day go up. One day it's 100, next day it's 120, 130, 140. And so what was happening was the pile of expireds was growing. And the only reason they weren't selling for one reason, they were mispriced, meaning the prices were gradual and nobody could see it because nice properties were still selling. So you couldn't tell that the market was bad. The only way you could tell market was changing was if you knew amount of expireds versus amount of actives. And as that grows, you're like, oh my God, there's something happening. And each day I would look that more and more expireds were happening compared to the net number of sales, right? I mean, what we call a cum of inventory, right? That was growing. And that's where for the first time I started realizing that there's something here, right? And I was ready. I mean, literally January 14th, 2008, I'll never forget it. 705 Morton, I still remember the address in Hoffman Estates. That was the first house I ever flipped, right?
How did you buy it?
I bought it with $20,000 I borrowed from Chase Bank as a home equity loan. And
On your primary residence?
on my primary residence. And I had another friend of mine who was a wealthy guy who had a cigar store, and we would talk. And I got him to invest with me because I thought he was a successful business guy. And I didn't want to tell him. I was scared.
Yeah.
Right? So I was like, hey, man, if he thinks it's a great idea, because everybody was like, hey, everybody's running for the hills, and you're investing. This is stupid. And I was like, no, now is the time to get in, right? And literally, he was like, okay, man, I'll put 20,000 in. Let's see what happens. I'm like, I'll do all the work. I'll find the property. Find the people to get it rehabbed, and I'll sell it. And I won't charge any commission. And literally, first 123 transactions, I did exact that way. And I gave him, he made a $25,000 investment, and I gave him $2.5 million back.
Wow.
So
You made money on all the flips?
no, I mean, I can't. So, you know, if I look
on
back.
the first one.
I made $20,000, but not including my commission. If I had actually charged myself, I barely made $15,000. So, you know, but that was a start. But now that I look back, and 2008, I did 10 flips. 2009, I did 30. 2010, I did 60. And what I realized was I was going back in the same pattern, which is as a real estate agent,
Yeah.
I had a treadmill I ran on.
Yeah.
As a flipper, quote unquote, I had a treadmill that I was running on harder. And people around me were like, oh my God, you're killing it, man. I'm like, I'm not killing anything. I'm killing myself. Because the truth was, of 66 flips that I had done in those 3 years, I made less than 13,000. In the 33 flips that I did, I made 60,000 or more per flip. So why did I do the 66 flips?
Right.
Because 33 are the ones that really made real money.
Yeah.
What I was doing was, what probably one of the biggest lessons I learned was that most of the flips I should have been saying no to, and I was saying yes to, because I thought the money was in the volume. It's all about quality, not quantity most of the times.
But you can also, can you systemize the flipping business so it's business that you can step out of or no?
You cannot. I mean, a lot of people have tried it. I have never met anybody that has systematized a business
To the level.
to the level where they truly have a high net.
Yeah.
You can systematize the business to do a lot of volume, but in the end, you're not going to have anything to show for it. I mean, you're much better off selling real estate. It's much less work. You'll be much more lucrative. If somebody said today, man, I want to make $250,000 or $500,000, sell real estate, 100%.
Wow.
No, do not do flips. Do flips one or two when the right ones come along.
Yeah.
That's it. Because a couple good flips, 3 good flips will make you $150,000.
Didn't you just do a flip in Mount Prospect?
I just did.
I saw the video on YouTube.
Yeah.
You're all over the place. I just saw the video with the kitchen, nice kitchen.
Yeah. So, I mean, Morton Grove, actually.
Oh, Morton Grove.
Yeah,
not the
Morton
Mount
Grove.
Prospect.
I mean, but that's an easy, simple flip.
Yeah.
Remove one wall, kitchen, bathrooms, and boom, and we made $82,000. But you have to be very picky on the ones that you do, right? A lot of times, I mean, you deal with this all the time. Flipping is, well, you buy it low, you fix it, you sell it high.
Yeah.
The problem is there's a lot of nuances in every business,
Sure.
right? And those nuances is where the devil is in the details. So, but 2010, I quit doing flips. I mean, quit as in cut it down, I guess.
You transitioned to buy and hold.
Buy and holds, yeah. So basically, the model at that time was 2 flips, 1 hold, 2 flips, 1 hold. And then it kind of flipped because that's when we started doing the whole 257 model.
Right.
2 years, 5 properties, get them paid down in 7.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Why would you pay him down?
So here was the thought process. It's actually a very good question. A lot of times people don't realize because logic would suggest that, hey, if you have good properties, why pay them down? Just basically keep scaling up. So at the time, what we know today, we didn't know at that time. I think where the market was 2011, 12, we couldn't get any 30-year fixed loans, right? So where the market was, you did a 5-year balloon loan with a 25-year amortization. So what would happen is, what if the balloon, when the balloon came due in 5 years, what if the rates were 10, 12, 15%? I didn't want to be like all the people I saw around. Yeah. So my calculation was that, hey, man, for every 5 properties that I have, if 3 or 4 are paid down, then I can easily, even if the interest rates go up, everybody else is going to be in trouble, and I'll be able to make the notes. I won't ever have to look back. And my idea when I started doing rentals was very simple. I wanted $3,000 a month in cash flow.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that was my simple goal, and I wanted to own 2 or 3 houses free and clear. Right? I was like, if I can get there, because that was more than anybody I saw at the time. So,
Stino once told me in the beginning, I just got into the business. He said, if you have 5 houses, it will change your life. I'm never going to forget it. I was like, oh, I want to change my life. I need 5 places.
100%.
Yeah.
Right? And Mr. Stino has done that, right?
Right.
100%.
He's I don't know how much he's total right now, but he's over 100, I think, units. I'm doing, I started with condos. You don't like condos?
No, I actually did start with condos. I started with townhouses. I didn't like condos with a hallway. That was my big thing. Because like where you are, the density is higher. Like if you take in Chicago, as we talk about northwest part of Chicago, or in Chicago, your density is higher. There the condos sell. But in my market, which was Schaumburg and surrounding market, Hanover Park, Hoffman Estates, Glendale Heights, condos with a hallway did not sell. So if you had a single entrance condo, meaning like a 4-unit building, and you own one of them, or if you have individual condo units, then it was fine, but no hallways. So because, see, I knew those stats from the selling. Because if you took up, like I'll give you a perfect example, Arlington Heights, great suburb, but condos with long hallways, they would sit on the market forever. So I would never take those listings because whenever I was selling real estate, my approach was similar to investing. I was only selling properties at the time between $100,000 and $350,000 because those properties would turn the quickest. And that market was the easiest for me to penetrate, right? So I took, and this idea came from Mike. He's like, listen, sell bread and butter properties, just do a large volume, and you can turn them. So, and there's plenty of them. To break up and go into a higher niche, you're going to have to do too much work. It's not worth it. So I use that same principle for flips. I use that same principle for rentals. Middle market, not the low market, not the high market. The mid part is where you can make the most.